Hi, everybody. Do you want to hear a ghost story? Okay, I'm going to tell you about a story from my personal experience as a child. You see, my dad always found these beautiful antique old Victorian homes, and he would buy them really cheap because they'd be all decrepit and stuff like that. And he would have to work on them. And so we would move into this big old spooky house, and they'd give me a bedroom, sometimes with my older sister Alice, which wasn't so much fun because she was 10 years older than me, and I was a really annoying little kid, as you could probably tell. And so I sometimes would get a creepy little bedroom up in the attic. So one time they actually, like, straight up literally gave me a closet for my bedroom. You had to go up these really creepy stairs and through my sister Alice's bedroom to this door that opened up to a walk-in closet. And in the closet there was like a little window, so it wasn't like you're locked in the closet and it's really dark, but it was a pretty elaborately shaped because you could walk in. There was an area that they put a bed for me, like right here, and then it kind of turned around this way, had like a little play area. So it wasn't like being locked in a closet, but it was super spooky. I was in the first grade when we lived in that house, and I think it may have been in Tacoma, Washington. We moved around a lot. But anyhow, this hallway up to the bedroom was like this. It was through an office. Like, it's like you had to go through Dad's office to the back side of it, up these stairs, into the bedroom, around and into the closet. I would hear the strangest noises at night. Sometimes I would think that my sister Alice was up all night doing stuff, and I would sneak out of that. Like, I could hear people walking, and I could hear people talking, and they would be whispering. And I would like open the door, and I would sneak over, and like Alice would be sound asleep. There'd be no radios on. This was in the 1970s, so we didn't have like all kinds of fancy technology and stuff like that you do now. And it scared the bejesus out of me until one morning I woke up from a dream, and that night I had a dream that the ghost was of a little girl. She had dark hair, blue eyes, and she was standing over me, waiting for me to wake up. She looked at me with these big, deep eyes, and she said, "Come with me, I want to show you something." And I said, "But I'm scared. My mom says I'm not supposed to trust you." She said, "Just come with me, it's okay." So I got up, and I followed her, and we went down the stairs into Dad's office and around the corner into the living room. Then we snuck into the kitchen and out the side door of the kitchen when we went outside, and we walked over by the garden. And she told me that I had to look because there was something she wanted to show me. She said that it was ashes, and the ashes were going to build, and they were going to build, and they were going to build. And that we weren't going to be able to go outside because the ashes had glass in them, and that we weren't going to be able to breathe it or it would kill us. And she scared me, and I said, "Oh my God, you guys." Oh, and I just freaked out, and I ran inside. I ran upstairs, crawled back in my set bed, and I went to sleep. I woke up the next morning, and I was pretty positive it was just a dream. It was just a dream. It's just a dream. It didn't really happen. So I got up, and I got dressed, and I went downstairs because I could smell my mom making breakfast. And I walked downstairs, and I walked into the kitchen. And she was angry, and she says, "Jennifer, were you outside last night in the middle of the night?" And I said, "No." "Well, why? Why would I have been outside in the middle of the night?" "Well, somebody went outside in the middle of the night, and they were walking around barefoot, and they walked in the mud, and they tracked mud all the way back inside, and you're the only one that has little tiny feet." I was the youngest by like 10 years. And I literally was the only child in the house. And I was like, I totally didn't do that. And she looked down at my feet and she says, "You're lying. Look at your feet." And I looked down and my feet were all muddy. I had changed clothes, but I hadn't looked at my feet and realized that I had mud all over them. And sure enough, there was muddy footprints all the way from the garden back into the house. And then about a week later, Mount St. Helens exploded. Yep, we couldn't go outside without a mask for like a long time. We wore masks at school and everything. But when Mount St. Helens first exploded at that time, it rained like 6 inches of ash all over our yard. And my mom had us go put masks on and gloves and go outside and scoop it up, because for the next several years, she used that as fertilizer in her garden. Yep, true story. Welcome to Jen's Stories. Thanks for listening, guys. I know that was a little bit of a long one. It says 5 minutes and 32 seconds. Thanks for watching.